Wilkins is a world-famous and well-respected player, but also seriously underappreciated. The Athletic ranked the small forward at number 51 all-time. But perhaps the biggest insult was when the NBA released its all-time top 50 in 1996 and Wilkins wasn't on it. Thankfully, they fixed that glaring error and included the forward in the NBA's 75th anniversary team. Sometimes that flashy quality overshadowed the strong overall play of Wilkins. But we are here to put the record straight and celebrate the awesomeness of Dominique Wilkins. Wilkins earned his human highlights film reputation in college, but it wasn't all circus plays. Dominique was incredibly efficient. The forward even earned SEC Men's Basketball Player of the Year honors in 1981. As a freshman, he was already the highest-scoring player on the team with 18.6 points per game. As a sophomore, that already ballooned to 23.6 per game, which was the highest tally in the SEC. Those were the fun days, man, he remembers. But teammate Derek Floyd says he wasn't all about fun and flash. The thing that impressed me the most about him was that he practiced just as hard as he played. He made everybody in practice work harder. If you stole the ball from him, he would follow you down the court and block your shot. So no one was surprised when Wilkins entered the 1982 NBA draft after finishing his junior year. Wilkins was such an incredible dunker that he remains recognized as of the all-time greatest in that regard. He won 2 NBA All-Star Slam Dunk contests, first in 1985 and then again in 1990. What made his dunks remarkable was a unique combination of artistry and savagery. The trademark Wilkins dunk had richness and subtlety if you looked carefully. But the first thing you always noticed was the intense ferocity that threatened to bring down the basket and board every time Dominique made contact with the rim. Wilkins makes no bones about it when asked why he dunked so hard. "I love the art of dunking because I used it as a tool for intimidation." At his peak, Wilkins was one of the best scorers in the league. He had various excellent shots, including a mid-range jumper and an efficient three-point shot. How good a scorer was Dominique? He averaged over 25 points per game over 10 consecutive seasons. Not many players have done that. Only Kevin Durant, Allen Iverson, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Karl Malone, Shaquille O'Neal, and Jerry West make up that exalted list. In 1985 to 86, Wilkins won the scoring title by averaging 30.3 points per game. But that wasn't even his most effective scoring season. In 1987 to 88, the forward averaged 30.7 points, but was beaten out by Michael Jordan in one of his best seasons with 35 per game. What was behind most of his points wasn't his sublime dunking chops. It was the accuracy and his excellent footwork. Wilkins remembers that his points came from creative ways of scoring, getting to the free throw line, mid-range, finger rolls. I worked on those things every year. I took Earl the Pearl's Monroe spin move, which became mine. I've always been able to run the lane and had great footwork. I had different things that I used where one guy wasn't going to be able to guard me, not by himself. Wilkins is 15th overall in career points with 26,668, and he scored those points using every move in the book. Dunks were just another part of an incredibly wide repertoire. Everyone remembers the jaw-dropping dunks, but Dominique was also tough as nails. He still takes pride in the fact that the player never missed a single game willingly. Wilkins felt a sense of profound responsibility and never wanted to let his teammates down. Therefore, the forward missed no more than 18 games in his first 9 seasons in the NBA. Unfortunately, in 1991 to 92, Wilkins tore his Achilles tendon and experienced the first serious injury of his career. Dominique credits his days playing street ball against older kids in Baltimore for his resilience. The player remembers, "I had no choice but to become tough and never quit. He never let me quit, no matter if I got my ass kicked every day and every night playing with those kids on the street. I rarely lost a one-on-one game against those kids in the street. They had money on the line so that I couldn't lose." That never-say-die attitude helped Wilkins recover from the worst injury of his career. During the 1991 to 92 season, the forward tore up his Achilles tendon and had to undergo surgery. That injury was uncommon at the time, and Wilkins thought he could play through it. "When it happened, I felt like someone hit me with a baseball bat. I was trotting down the court, so I remember they took me to the hospital. As I was going to the hospital, I asked them to bring me back. But it was soon apparent that the injury was very severe, one Wilkins may not be able to come back from. He remembers, "When I tore it, I heard all the critics saying that I was done at my age and that when I come back I would be a hunchback. But as we know, he would not be denied. Dominique explains how he did it. But I worked twice a day every day for 9 months. I was determined not just to come back, but be better than I was when I left. And indeed, Wilkins was in rare form the following season, averaging 29.9 points per game. It was a quick and incredible recovery. Perhaps the main reason Wilkins is underrated is that he never won a ring. Indeed, the Atlanta Hawks never made it past the Eastern Conference semifinals, but there is a limit to how much responsibility you can lay at Dominique's doorstep. The 1980s were filled with excellent teams like Larry Bird's Celtics, Magic's Lakers, the Pistons' Bad Boys, and the Julius Erving Sixers, to name a few. The Hawks never gave Wilkins the help he needed to beat the big guys. Indeed, he remains the greatest player in the history of the Hawks. His number 21 jersey hangs from the rafters, and a colossal bronze statue of Nick is erected outside the Phillips Center. They never had anyone even remotely his equal during the Wilkins era or since. The sad part is, the human highlight reel was picked by a team that may have been a better platform for his skills. Wilkins was selected third in the 1982 NBA draft by the Utah Jazz. But the player refused to go because the Salt Lake City club wanted him to play power forward, and he insisted on playing small instead. This may have cost him a title, as Wilkins admits today. Playing with Stockton and Malone, we probably could have won a few championships. Not probably. We would have, but again, things happen in life for a reason, and you've got to take what cards are dealt. But coming to Atlanta was a blessing for me, and I've never left. Just because Wilkins never won a title doesn't mean he hasn't notched up incredible moments. Here are some performances that make up inseparable parts of an impressive legacy. The duel with Bird, May 22, 1988. It was Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. The series had started as expected, with 2 Celtics wins, but the Hawks had clawed their way back into the series. Nevertheless, Wilkins clearly vowed that he would not lose that game. Unfortunately, opponent Larry Bird was a force of nature. He had only 14 points coming into the fourth, but ended up with 34. And the Celtics, as always, had more quality throughout their lineup. Boston clinched the series with a 118-116 win, but Wilkins had the better game. The 1985 Slam Dunk Competition. Many fans prefer the 1988 competition where Michael Jordan defeated Wilkins after a fierce competitor. But that is just an unfair pro-MJ bias. The human highlight reel beat the upstart rookie in 1985 and showed why he is the greater dunker. This was the Air Jordan period of the Bulls star's career. His dunks involved gravity-defying floats. So naturally, therefore, MJ was the favorite to win the title. And in the semis, the rookie had the best dunk with a stupefying dunk from the free throw line. It was an homage to Julius Erving and earned a perfect score and Jordan's ticket to the final. Dominique slammed the last 2 dunks so definitively that the judges gave him a perfect score on both. The first was a masterpiece Wilkins banged on the floor before bringing it home, but he saved the piece de resistance for last. The 360-degree round-the-world spin ended with a fierce 2-hander. It was poetry in motion. Wilkins said, "I think the creativity the fans wanted to see was there." Meanwhile, Jordan seemed gracious in defeat, saying, "I enjoyed being a participant, and I was happy to make the final 2. But he was already plotting his revenge. Although Wilkins controversially lost to Jordan in 1988, he would come back to win in 1990 and earn his status as the Dunk King. Winning the 1986 scoring title. Winning the scoring title requires a consistent level of excellence, and Wilkins certainly had that with one of the best seasons of his career. Dominique remembers, "I was having a super year that year. That was a memorable year. I was playing on a different level that year. I think it was determination and the will to win. I wanted to win at all costs." The best evidence of that burning desire to win came in the season's final game, but the game in which the human highlights reel secured the scoring title was unforgettable. It was April 10th, 1986, in a matchup with the New Jersey Nets. Wilkins was in a neck-and-neck battle with 2 grizzled veterans. Alex English of Denver and Adrian Dantley of Utah also hovered around the 30-point mark. So Wilkins needed a definitive performance to put the competition beyond any doubt. The 26-year-old Wilkins certainly did that, dropping a career-high 57 points that night to guarantee a league-leading 30.3 average for the 1985-86 season. The incredible all-around skills of Dominique Wilkins and his cutthroat will to win were evident in everything the forward did. He never bowed under pressure, as his slam dunk wins and excellent playoff performances attest. The only reason he is not remembered as one of the absolute greatest is that the Hawks never built a team worthy of his skills. But he belongs on every list of all-time greats. Shame on anyone who does not include the human highlight reel.